Hi, everybody, and welcome to a comics loving edition of Words, Images, and Worlds. So glad on this episode to be talking with comics creator Patrick Olliffe. Patrick, thank you for jumping in and taking some
Sure.
time to talk with me.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I'm looking forward to it.
My pleasure. Thank you for saying yes. And I know that you have a long history with comics. You've worked on a variety of characters. So
Sure.
curious about how that journey started.
Well, I think that's my story isn't probably that unusual. A lot of guys in this business start out very similarly in that I was, a fan of comics when I was a kid. And
Mhm.
in order to celebrate my comics, I don't know if you can hear it, but someone is sending out fireworks, so that's kind of a celebratory thing. That was unplanned. Anyway, but so my dad bought me a comic book, a Superman comic, I think, when I was probably 6, and I loved it. I mean, it was just something that an immediate connection
Mhm.
with the artwork and the vibrancy of the stories and the colorfulness and I just thought it was great. And So I would get more comics, and it really initially I didn't actually read them. I just looked at the pictures because I was so entranced by what I was seeing.
Mhm.
Um, and then it wasn't, and then eventually I went, oh my God, you can read these things. So I think that was kind of just the beginning of it. Just when my dad got me a comic, like I said, when I was probably Superman comic when I was around 6, and then a little bit later, I got an issue of the Avengers by with the art by Neil Adams and Tom Palmer, and that really just kind of changed how I viewed comic books, comic book artwork, and kind of got the hooks in even deeper at that point. And so I was, I don't know, a little older than that, maybe 10 or so, and then I was basically on my path from that point.
Mhm. Mhm. So, very cool that you got started reading Superman DC Comics and then you went on and have gone on to work for DC Comics and Marvel
I
and
did.
yeah,
Yeah.
anybody along the way that's been a particularly wonderful collaborator or a particularly positive experience, either for the big two or elsewhere.
Well, I think the as far as collaborators concerned, I mean that's the nature of this business. It's a collaborative effort. There's a writer, there's a penciler, inker, letterer, colorist, editor. I mean, so there's a whole bunch of people all trying to pull in the same direction.
Hmm. Hmm.
But some of my favorite collaborators, I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of great writers. Um, I think my favorite collaborations have been with guys like Tom DeFalco,
Hmm.
who
Hmm.
was early in my career, one of the first writers I ever worked with. And he and I have gone on to work on a bunch of projects together, including Spider Girl. We were on Spider Girl for 5 years,
Hmm.
and now we just finished up work on Secret Wars Battle World, which is coming out in November through Marvel, commemorating the 40th anniversary of the Secret Wars series.
Hmm.
Tom has always been great because when I first started working in comics, we all worked plot first. So I would get just basically a plot of the story, and then it was up to me to kind of break down the pages and panels and that kind of thing. So it allowed me some more input on how the story was going to be told visually. So that was a great training ground for me. And the more I worked with Tom, the more comfortable that he felt with what I could do, that he would then kind of give me a more broader description of what the action was and give me more room to play with some of the visuals and the visual storytelling.
Hmm.
So Tom has been a great collaborator over the course of my career. And more recently, my collaboration with Chuck Austin has been extremely rewarding. Um, as we've created Edgeworld, which is our creator-owned property that is coming out through Comixology Originals. The first series has
Hmm.
been out. The second series is now out. The trade paperback, I think, is coming out in March. I think I should probably know that more specifically. Um, but Chuck and I have worked together on this on Edgeworld for quite a while now, and he's been great. We get on the phone, we talk ideas. It's a real back and forth, true collaboration in creating this our own little world. So
Mhm, mhm.
he's been fantastic to work with, and I love working with him. So my hope is that Edgeworld will continue in some form or fashion.
Yeah, yeah, I've been a big fan of that one as well, and
Well, thanks.
yeah, sending the good vibes for it to continue for some
Yeah.
time because I
Well,
know,
we appreciate it for sure. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I know with DC and Marvel they're like interlocking worlds, but
Right.
that's the cool thing with Comixology originals is you can kind of carve your own path.
Absolutely, and I think that's what has kind of made the collaboration that Chuck and I have even better is the fact that like Tom and I collaborate on characters that are owned by Marvel Comics.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
Chuck and I have created this whole world from the ground up, just the two of us. And that has been extremely rewarding for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Any worlds that you would want to revisit or characters that you would want to revamp at this point that you've worked on throughout your career?
Um, I don't know if I would want to revamp characters necessarily. There's always projects that I've been on that I look back on and wish we had a longer run.
Mhm,
Everything from you go all the way back to Warlock and the Infinity Watch, one of my early books,
mhm,
all the
mhm.
way up through something like Rough Riders that I did with Adam Glass at Aftershock. Um, getting a chance to work on some of the characters. I did a New 52 miniseries called The Four Horsemen that had I'm sorry, wrong company. Had Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman in it.
Mhm.
That was great fun, and I've never really had much of an opportunity to work on those mainstay characters for DC. I would love a chance to revisit all three of those characters individually together. That miniseries seemed like it went super quick, and I'd love to revisit those characters for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I also really enjoyed in the DC world the things that you were able to do with Booster Gold as well, and some
Yeah,
of the
and I did. Yeah, that was one of my. I really enjoyed that character, and because it was connected to 52, and
Mhm.
I was hoping to get more work with that character. It just didn't. It just didn't work out. But he would definitely be one of them. I would love to revisit as well, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And as you mentioned, very exciting that you're crafting sort of the original standalone spaces with Edgeworld as well. So enjoy that.
Absolutely,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah. So hopefully, usually the last question I share is something along the lines of, next creative steps, those kind of things. So it sounds like hopefully more of that to come. And then you
Yeah,
mentioned you also have Battle World. Um,
right.
yeah.
So I think that moving forward, it would be I would love to continue to do work. I mean, I've always enjoyed my time at Marvel and DC. I mean, I love working on those characters. It's always great fun. I would like to continue to do some work for them. I might be getting another project at Marvel, which would be a lot of fun. But also concurrent to that, I love this idea of creating my own universe, creating my own world with Chuck. He and I have been working on Edgeworld for a while. We have more ideas in mind. Certainly, pursuing that creator-owned path is something I would like to do more of. Absolutely.
Mhm, mhm. This was not on the official list, so you're welcome to pass if you want. But just curious because I'm a high school English teacher. I work with young people, and I'm starting a
Sure.
comics club this year. So
Oh,
curious for
awesome.
the yeah, yeah, lots of fun, lots of fun. Um, Curious about what you would share with sort of young and upcoming creators, if that creator owned kind of direction is the one that you would most encourage, or working with established characters and sort of, or maybe a blend of both, which seems to have been the path
Sure.
that you've been on.
Well, I think that the creator-owned properties have the most upside in
Hmm.
terms of not only kind of getting your own voice out there, getting what you want out there as a creative individual, creative storyteller. Um, so it has the most upside if it goes well, if it hits, if you find an audience, but also, as with most things that have the bigger upside, it has the bigger risk. So if you can pay your bills in some form or fashion and still pursue your creator-owned properties, that's great. So I think that would be an opportunity to pursue your own path, but at the same time, you would also be able to, put food on the table and keep a roof over your head. And that's one of the benefits of working for, not only is it a financial benefit to work for the companies like Marvel and DC that will offer you a page rate and something that is a little bit more dependable, as dependable as things can be in this business. There's also a chance to work on characters that you're a fan of, that you grew up with, that you are connected to in a different way. So I would never tell someone who grew up reading, Batman or X-Men or whatever, to say, you know what, put those aside, follow your own path only to the exclusion of anything else. I mean, it's such an individual thing. If you really have a specific vision that you want to get out there and you are compelled to do so, then that would be the path that you would want to go on. But at the same time, getting a chance to work on characters from Marvel and DC have been a lot of fun and can be rewarding financially and having a little bit more stability than the creator-owned path. Although I know guys that have done their creator-owned thing through, Kickstarter or whatever, have been able to generate an income, keep themselves going, and that's a great way to do it. If you can kind of blend those two together, then that's great.
Yeah. Sounds like well-rounded advice. Love it.
Well, when you're younger, you do tend to think that it's just, as soon as I get my stuff out there, it's a straight way, it's a straight path to success. And it can be that, but at the same time, there's always going to be ups and downs. And the bottom line is you do have to pay your rent. So you have to be cognizant of being a commercial artist, a professional, someone who's got to do this because they love it, but also do this to try to make a living too.
Yeah. So as far as readers connecting, following along, any conventions that are go-to spaces for you for the in-person encounters, as well as any online spaces that you found to be positive and generative places to be?
In terms of finding my work,
yes.
I don't have any conventions specifically lined up at the moment. I'm in Pittsburgh, so I always do the Pittsburgh convention. I just did the Terrificon in Connecticut a few weeks ago, a month ago. So the easiest way to find out where I am is to follow me on Instagram. I'm at POLLIFF65 on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter, Pat Olliffe 65. I always keep updated as to what's coming up for me, projects, store appearances or conventions. Also a website, patrickolliffe.com. You can hop over there and see kind of a more broader range of the kind of work that I do and have done. But in terms of, I'm also on Facebook. But in terms of those online spaces where you can find out what I'm up to, what I'm doing, where I'm going to be, where you can, come and, get a sketch, get an autograph, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, those are the best places to find me.
Fantastic. I think I saw something earlier today, maybe on Instagram, that was a commission you were working on, a Peter Parker or something like that, I think. Yep.
Yeah. So I do, and I also do, I take commissions through CatskillComics.com at Scott Kress. So if anyone's interested in a commission, they can hop over there and get a commission from me as well. That's always fun to do, because there's always unexpected requests, and everybody has these great ideas that they come up with that I wouldn't have on my own. So it's always fun to get a surprising commission. So
yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Patrick, for your time. Did I miss anything that you want to make sure to share before we close out?
No, I think that was it. I think, yeah, I mean, my current work being for Marvel at the Secret Worlds Battle World, and the second graphic novel, the trade for the second series of Edgeworld is will be out through Dark Horse Books, I think in March. So that's what's coming up for me, and you know where you can find me to keep in touch and to find out what's coming up after that.
All right. Sounds great. And looking forward to all the things to come.
I appreciate it. Thank you.